What's up, guys? Derek here with Tap and Turn Gaming, coming at you today with another EDH deck tech. Today's deck tech will be probably one of our last deck techs until we get back into the Tribe Wars Battle Royale. We only have a couple more matches left in that, and we're just in the process of finishing up and editing the last couple of videos, so we want to keep some content rolling out in the meantime. So today's deck tech will be for Intet the Dreamer with a Temur Dragons theme. So it's going to be very dragon tribal. This is a deck tech that was suggested to us by one of our YouTube subscribers. He wanted to see our take on Temur Dragons as he is building it, and he wanted to see what we would come up with for it. That subscriber is Anthony Smith. So Anthony, this is the deck you asked us to build. Hopefully you can pull a few ideas from it. So let's take a look at what we came up with. Land base is pretty simple. Breeding Pool, Command Tower, Halimar Depths, Mosswort Bridge, Reflecting Pool, Snow-covered forests, islands, and mountains, 9 of each. Spine Rock Knoll, Steam Vents, Stomping Ground, and Temple of Abandon, Epiphany, and Mystery. The 3 temples because I like the scry. Halimar Depths to change around our top so we can draw the cards we need. Reflecting Pool is great, especially if you have Command Tower down. I love dropping a turn 1 Command Tower into a turn 2 Reflecting Pool and having 2 tricolor lands down. It's very, very nice. And then we have the Spinewalk Knoll. Not one of my favorite hideaway lands, but I think achieving 7 damage to activate this won't be too difficult in this deck, so it shouldn't be too bad. For Planeswalkers, we only ended up running 1. We went with Sarkhan Unbroken, even though there are, I think, 3 other Sarkhans we could have run besides him. I think he really fits the theme the best for what he does. I mean, he may not transform into a dragon like one of the other Sarkhans, but he's pretty cool. He's a 5-cost 4 loyalty Planeswalker. You can +1 to draw a card, then add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Or you can -2 him to put a 4/4 dragon onto the field with flying. Or you can -8 to search your library for any number of dragons and put them on the battlefield, and then shuffle your library after. So that's a pretty cool ability, considering he comes in with 4. So it's pretty cool. Not too overpowered because it will take him a while to get there, but it is pretty fun nonetheless. So for our instance, we'll take a look at those next. Mostly going to be some removal. We've got Beast Within, Capsize, Court of Calling, Cyclonic Rift, Essence Flux, Ghostly Flicker, Reality Shift, and Sarkhan's Triumph. Nice little dragon tutor, so that's pretty cool. Essence Flux being a new little flicker. We don't have a lot of comes into play abilities. We do have a few. This is mostly just to be able to save our creatures from targeted removal, versus being able to abuse the enter the battlefield. Though we do have a few enter the battlefield abilities. Like I said, this is primarily for us to be able to not die a horrible death and be able to save some of our creatures. Likewise with Ghostly Flicker. For enchantments, we're running Asceticism to be able to protect our guys. Beastmaster's Ascension because when we attack with one with 7 creatures and all of our dragons get +5/+5, dragons are already pretty big to begin with. This just makes them quite bigger. Defense of the Heart, very well-known card, does what it does very well. Sacrifice this if your opponent, at the beginning of your upkeep, if your opponents have at least 4 creatures, I want to say it is. 3. If your opponents have at least 3 creatures, you can sack this to 2 for any 2 creatures and put them into play. Super, super powerful ability. Dragon Tempest. This card is absolutely bananas in a Dragon Tribal deck. I mean, I've seen this played in Scion. I've seen this played in other Dragon Tribals. Absolutely bananas. For a 2-cost enchantment, I mean, it's awesome. Whenever a creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, it gains haste. So it basically says all your flying creatures have haste. That's pretty awesome. And whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, it deals X damage to target creature or player, where X is the number of dragons you control. So you play 1 dragon, you deal 1 damage. You play a 2nd dragon, now you deal 2 damage. Then you play a 3rd dragon, now you deal 3 damage. And as you're playing incrementally more dragons, you can have them remove the creatures that could block your dragons, which is going to let more damage go through, and just do what you have to do. Then we run Frontier Siege, mostly so we can choose dragons. So whenever a creature flying into the battlefield under our control, we may have it fight target creature we don't control. This, in conjunction with Dragon Tempest, becomes very powerful, where you're playing your 4th or 5th dragon, and Dragon Tempest deals 5 damage to a creature, and then you can have that creature that came in fight something else. The amount of removal you have is just really, really good, without having to expend all your extra mana on spells. We're running Quest for Renewal. I think it's a pretty underrated card, seeing as it only costs 37 cents, but whenever a creature you control becomes tapped, you may put a quest counter on Quest for Renewal. As long as there are 4 or more quest counters on Quest for Renewal, untap all creatures you control during each other player's untapped step. So what's cool about that is that really works very well in conjunction with Beastmaster's Ascension, because we're going to be wanting to turn our creatures sideways. With Beastmaster, once we have attacked with 7 creatures, all of our creatures get +5/+5. With Quest for Renewal, once we've tapped 4 of our creatures, this activates and all of our creatures start untapping. It gives us a Seedborn Muse style effect almost. And then we have Wild Pair, 6-cost enchantment. Whenever we cast a creature from our hand, we can search our library for any creature that matches its power and toughness combined. So, for instance, if we play a 5/5, we can search for a 5/5 or a 10/0 or a 0/10 or a 1/9. As long as the additive of power and toughness are the same, we can search for that creature. So that's pretty cool, because a lot of dragons are either 5/5s, 4/4s, or 6/6s. So you end up just being able to just crank out dudes pretty quick, which also works very well with Dragon Tempest. So for artifacts, we're running Chromatic Lantern for mana fixing and ramp, Conjurer's Closet for the flicker, Cryptic Gateway, because we can tap 2 of our guys to put another dragon into play, and tapping our guys works very well with Quest for Renewal. Darksteel Ingot for the ramp, the Gruul Cluestone, Gruul Signet, is it Cluestone, is it Signet, Simic Cluestone, Simic Signet, that kind of thing. Riptide Replicator, we have this in here solely so we can not necessarily invest a ton of mana into it, but even if we invest, 3 mana into it, so we're paying it for 7, and then we can start spitting out like 3/3 dragons, it's mostly in there to be able to spit out blockers and really kick off of Dragon Tempest and Frontier Siege. If we have 4 or 5 dragons out, and then even if we spit out a 1/1 dragon with Riptide Replicator, then we're going to kick off our Dragon Tempest, and we're going to kick off our Frontier Siege and be able to just get a lot of removal going. So this lets us have reusable spot removal and reusable spot blockers, so that is just really, really nice for us. And reusable spot attackers, because Dragon Tempest gives our guys haste. And then Soul Ring, because it's Soul Ring. So one of the things I ran the Signets because they have nice mana fixing on the 2 mana slot for all 3 of the guilds. And the reason I ran the Cluestones over Key Runes or over something else is because later in the game, when I have the mana, I can dump them to draw a card. And that's more or less why I ran them over some different mana rocks. For sorceries, Anger of the Gods, mostly because it's going to deal that 3 damage to each creature, which will kill almost none of our creatures. Maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 of our creatures is what it's going to kill, but mostly so it'll kill none of our creatures. It'll kill a lot of the opponent's creatures and exile them. So it almost is like a one-sided wrath for us. Blasphemous Act, you got to run that big red sweeper in EDH. Chain Reaction, also very nice. Dragonstorm, it's Dragonstorm. We're playing Dragon Tribal. We should be playing it. Even if we can get it off, an X of 2 or an X of 3, it's not bad at all. Genesis Wave is always fun and always mean and always causes the salt, so that's why we're playing that. Slagstorm, just another one of those 3 damage to each creature or 3 damage to each player. It's mostly just so that we can really just start, whittling the board away from. It's mostly for like token decks. Same thing with Anger of the Gods, though it is good for us. They're mostly both in there to really help us out with the aggro token decks. They're going to spit out a tons of 1s and 2/2s to help us stave off that attack. And we have Tooth and Nail. Not really much explanation needed for Tooth and Nail. It is just really, really good. So then for our creatures, you're going to see it's mostly dragons. So we have Atarka Worldrender. He is flying and trample. Whenever a dragon creature you control attacks, it gains double strike. Guy's really fantastic in the 7-cost slot. The fact that he's going to give probably 90% of our creatures double strike is pretty awesome. Balefire Dragon, because when he hits, he deals that much damage to each creature the opponent controls. So if he hits my opponent, he's going to deal 6 damage to all my opponent's creatures. But if I have a Tarka down, he's going to deal that 6 damage twice. So that's very, very powerful. Bogarden Hellkite, very well known what he does. Destructor Dragon, when he dies, we can destroy target non-creature permanent. That's a very, very powerful ability for us to have. Dragon Broodmother, going to be able to spit out some tokens for us. That's mostly why she's in here, to be able to spit out tokens and spit out tokens. Not so much needed for the devouring of them, but just so that every upkeep we get that token for a blocker, or to pick off Dragon Tempest, or to kick off Frontier Siege. So a lot of synergy going on. Dragon Lord Servant, he's a great turn 2 play for us to reduce our dragon spells by 1. Dragon Master Outcast, while not a dragon, he is going to spit out 5/5 dragons, which will work very well with Tempest and Siege, so that's why he's in there. Dragon Speaker Shaman is going to be very similar for us for Dragon Lord Servant. So ideally what we'd want to do is we want to play land, Soul Ring, turn 2 Dragon Speaker, where is he? Dragon Lord Servant, so we can reduce our cost of our dragons by 1. Then the turn after that, we'd want to go with Dragon Speaker Shaman to reduce the cost of our dragons by 2. So now they all cost 3 less. And then by turn 4, we're just spitting out crazy amounts of dragons. We have Harbinger of the Hunt. What I like about him is he is flying, and he is a 5/3, which is, he's one of the dragons he's sort of one of the creatures I was talking about with Wild Pair. Because Wild Pair wants us to search for a total added power and toughness, when we look at Harbinger of the Hunt, he's a 5/3. Well, 5 plus 3 is 8, so I could get like a Dragon Broodmother or a Destructor Dragon. Even though they have a mismatched power and toughness from him, it's all about that additive, so it really works out well. So we have, for 3 mana, he can deal 1 damage to each creature flying, or for 3 mana with a green, he can deal 1 damage to each creature with or without flying. So it's just, he's going to help us pick off those token armies again. We have Hellkite Charger, flying in haste. Whenever he attacks, we may pay 7. If we do, untap all attacking creatures after this, and there's an additional combat phase after that. Really, really pretty cool. Imperial Hellkite. When he's turned face up, you may search your library for a dragon, reveal it, and put it in your hand. That's why he's in there. He's a dragon tutor. Kiga. When Kiga dies, we can take something. Really cool. Mordant Dragon. He's in here because when he deals combat damage to a player, you may have it deal that much damage to target creature the opponent controls. So just more removal for us, and the more removal, the better. We're running both mid visits. Don't really need to explain why. They're both really good. Rhymescale Dragon is the reason we're running Snowlands, because you can pay 2 in a snow mana to be able to tap down a creature, and it doesn't untap. Technically you put an ice counter on it, and creatures with ice counters don't untap. So this gives us a small form of control as well, and that's really nice. Then we have Savage Ventmaw. Now what I like about Savage Ventmaw is he has flying, he's a 4/4, that's all good. Whenever he attacks, you add 6 to your mana pool. It's really good because when we have Hellkite Charger down for 7 mana, if we invest 7 mana in his ability, we untap with every creature. We untap every creature that attacked, and we get another combat phase. So if Hellkite Charger attacks and Savage Ventmaw attack, I can use his 6 mana to pay into his 7 mana ability and only have to invest 1 extra mana to get additional combat phases. So you could easily get 6, 7, 8, 9 combat phases and just go absolute bananas. Scourge of Carriages. He's mostly in there because he can nuke the ground, nuke the air. He does what he does pretty well. Scourge of the Throne. He's in there because he's flying, he has the throne, and whenever he attacks, when Scourge of the Throne attacks for the first time each turn, if it's attacking the player with the highest life total, untap all creatures, you get another combat phase. So just more combat phases. Scourge of Kalatas is pretty cool. Because when he comes into play, he does cool things, like when Scourge of Falcus or another dragon enter the battlefield under our control, he deals X damage to target creature player with X is the number of dragons we control. So he basically has Dragon Tempest ability on a body, and that is very nice for us. Stormbreath Dragon, flying haste, Prot White. I remember when this guy was like a $30 card. Now he's down to like 2. But when Stormbreath Dragon becomes monstrous, it deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of cards in that player's hand. So this is a card that we can really use with the Flicker ability or with our Conjurer's Closet, that we can make him monstrous, he deals the damage, we flicker him out, he comes back, we make him monstrous again and again and again. Thunder Dragon, when he enters the battlefield, he does 3 damage to each creature without flying. It's going to help us clear out the tokens, we can flicker him and do it again and again. Thunder Break Regent. Whenever a dragon you control becomes a target of spell ability, Thunder Break Regent deals 3 damage to that player. So just a way to deter people from wanting to target us. Thundermaw Hellkite, flying in haste, and when he enters the battlefield, he deals 1 damage to each creature with flying that your opponents control, and tap those creatures. Just a way to push some damage through real quick. Then we have Tyrant's Familiar, who's a 7-cost 5/5 with Flying and Haste and Lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, Tyrant's Familiar gets a +2/+2 and has whenever Tyrant's Familiar attacks, it deals 7 damage to target creature the final player controls. So as long as you have your general down, he's a 7/7 instead of a 5/5, as well as being able to deal 7 damage when he attacks to a creature. So that's just more removal for us. Then we have Utvara Hellkite. I really like this guy. He does cost 8 mana, but he is 6/6. But he has a pretty cool ability, which is he has flying, and whenever a dragon you control attacks, put a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying onto the battlefield. So that's really a pretty cool ability. Just being able to spit out 6/6s. It's a pretty cool ability because the token comes in untapped, so you replace your attacker with a blocker, and you don't sacrifice any defense to go on the offense, and it's a pretty cool ability. So this is the deck overall. I think it came out pretty cool. Intent's a pretty cool general. I actually just remembered I didn't go over Intent. So let's take a look at him. He's a 6-cost 6/6. He's one of the planar chaos dragons, I believe. But he is flying, and whenever Intent the Dreamer deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 3 via 2 and a blue. If you do exile the top card of your library face down, you may look at that card for as long as it remains exiled. You may play that card without paying its mana cost for as long as Intent remains on the battlefield. So it's a pretty cool card. You know what I mean? You attack with him, he deals damage, you pay that 3, and you remove something like a Blasphemous Act. So now you have that just waiting and waiting and waiting. And if someone pisses you off or if someone tries to kill Intent, you just go ahead and spit it out. And what's good about him is you can just spit them out whenever you need to. I mean, you still have to do it by their proper casting times, like via sorcery or instant or whatever. But it's a pretty cool ability because people don't know what you're going to have. And sometimes the unknown is scary. Fear of the unknown makes people want to do crazy things. But yeah, this has been Derek with Tap and Turn Gaming. This is Intet the Dreamer, Temur Dragons, and this is the deck that Anthony Smith wanted to see. I hope you get some cool ideas from it. I hope it's something that interested you. But please like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video. We're trying to get our channel more out there so we can do cool stuff. The better we can share our channel, the better we can do for giveaways and prizes and that sort of thing. Check out the rest of our upcoming Tribe Wars Battle Royale, because at the very end of it we'll be doing a giveaway, and who doesn't love giveaways? So yeah, Derek, Tap and Turn Gaming, like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you later. Thanks a lot, and goodbye.